My name is Sana. I was 22 years old when I got married. Like every bride, I carried 1,000 dreams in my heart, but also 1,000 fears. I had heard so many stories from friends, cousins, and even seen countless videos online about the first night. Some said it was painful, some said it was magical, some said men never cared about a woman's feelings. These words kept ringing in my ears. On my wedding day, I smiled for photos, greeted guests, and tried to look like the happiest bride in the world. But deep inside, I was trembling. I was leaving the comfort of my parents' home, stepping into an unknown world, and most of all, I didn't know what would happen that night. When I entered my new home, everyone welcomed me warmly. My sisters-in-law teased me, my mother-in-law hugged me, but my heart beat so fast that I could barely focus. Finally, after dinner, laughter, and endless rituals, the moment came. I was sent into the bedroom, our bedroom. The bed was decorated with red roses, the air smelled of perfume, and the dim lights gave the room a dreamy glow. But my hands were cold, my lips dry, and my heart was like a drum beating wildly. I sat on the bed quietly, eyes lowered, fingers twisting my dupatta nervously. Then the door opened. My husband entered slowly, carrying a glass of milk, just like in every story I had heard. I didn't dare to look up. I felt his steps getting closer. My heartbeat grew louder. He sat beside me. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then he whispered softly, "Sana, are you okay?" His voice was gentle, not demanding. I slowly nodded. He placed the glass in my hands. Our fingers touched for the first time, and that small touch sent a strange shiver through my whole body. My cheeks turned warm, and I quickly lowered my eyes. He smiled. "I know you must be nervous." Honestly, I'm nervous too. That surprised me. Nervous? I always thought men were fearless, eager, impatient. But here he was, admitting his shyness. I couldn't stop a small smile from appearing on my lips. We talked for a while. At first, it was just small things. How funny some relatives were, how awkward the photos had been, how he had nearly tripped during the wedding ceremony. Slowly, my fear began to melt. His honesty, his humor, and his gentle way of speaking built a bridge between us. Then came a quiet moment. He looked into my eyes and asked softly, "Sana, can I hold your hand?" I hesitated. My heart raced again. But something in his eyes told me he wasn't rushing. He was asking, not demanding. I nodded slowly. He took my hand gently into his. His hand was warm, strong, yet careful, like he was holding something precious. That simple gesture broke down a wall inside me. I felt comfort, safety, and a sweet kind of excitement. For a while, we just sat there, holding hands, saying nothing. But silence has its own language. I could hear his breathing. He could feel the trembling of my fingers. And in that silence, our hearts were speaking. Then he whispered, "I won't do anything tonight unless you're ready. I want this night to be special for both of us, not a memory of fear." At that moment, my eyes filled with tears. I didn't even know why. Maybe relief, maybe love, maybe the weight of all the fears I had carried suddenly lifting. He gently wiped my tears with his thumb, and his touch felt softer than silk. He leaned closer and kissed my forehead. That kiss was not about passion. It was about care, respect, love. My heart melted. Slowly, he put his arm around me, and I rested my head on his chest. I could hear his heartbeat, steady, strong, calming. We didn't rush. We talked, we laughed, and sometimes we just sat quietly, enjoying each other's presence. The night unfolded slowly, like a flower blooming under the moonlight, and when he finally leaned closer to kiss my lips, I didn't turn away. I closed my eyes and let it happen. It was gentle, warm, and filled with a sweetness I had never known before. Not something from a movie, not something fake, but something real, our first step into love. That night, I realized something important. The first night is not about pressure, not about performance, not about proving anything. It is about connection, trust, and respect. But that was only the beginning. What happened later that night, as our bond grew deeper, made me realize the true meaning of love and intimacy. The room was quiet. The only sound was my heartbeat against his chest. For the first time that day, I felt safe. His arms were not a cage. They were a shelter. He whispered, "Sana, don't be afraid of me. I am your partner, not your master. We have our whole life ahead." Those words broke something inside me, the wall of fear, the mountain of misconceptions. All the things I had heard before, men don't care. First night is painful. He will force himself. Suddenly seemed like lies. I looked up at him, my eyes still wet. "I was so scared," I admitted. He smiled gently, brushing away a tear from my cheek. "I know. But tonight I want to replace your fear with trust." Slowly he leaned closer, not rushing, not demanding. His lips touched mine again, softer this time, longer. I felt my breath pause, my body relax, and my heart open. It was as if he was asking me to trust him with every kiss, every touch. My fingers, still trembling, reached out to hold his shirt. I didn't even realize when I pulled him closer. It wasn't just his kiss. It was the warmth of being wanted, not as an object, not as a body, but as a soul. Time passed unnoticed. We shared our secrets, our childhood stories, our little fears. With each word, the distance between us faded. Every laugh, every glance, every touch was a thread, weaving us together. Finally, he whispered in my ear, "Sana, tonight is not about completing a ritual. It's about beginning our journey. We don't have to do everything in one night. We only have to understand each other." I closed my eyes and let those words sink deep into my heart. That was the moment I fell in love with him completely. When he kissed me again, it wasn't just lips meeting. It was trust meeting trust, love meeting love. His hands were gentle, exploring but never forcing, guiding me into a world I had never known before. For the first time, I let myself be vulnerable. I let myself feel every heartbeat, every breath, every shiver. The nervousness was still there, but it was mixed with something new: excitement, curiosity, and a sweetness that made me smile even as my cheeks burned. The night was filled with small moments, his fingers brushing through my hair, his lips tracing my cheek, my laughter when he nervously admitted he didn't know how to be perfect. We weren't perfect, but we were real, and that was more beautiful than any fantasy I had ever imagined. As the night slowly faded into dawn, I lay in his arms, my head resting on his chest, his heartbeat still steady under my ear. I realized I wasn't scared anymore. I wasn't confused anymore. I was loved. When the first rays of sunlight entered the room, he whispered, "Thank you, Sana, for trusting me. I promise you, I will never break that trust." Tears filled my eyes again, but this time they weren't from fear or sadness. They were from happiness, from the feeling of finally belonging, of finally being safe, of finally knowing what true love means. Girls often hear countless misconceptions about the first night. They are told it is filled with pain, fear, and force. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be like that. A first night should be about respect, care, and building trust. And to every man, remember, a woman is not just a body. She is a heart, a soul, and a partner. Your first night together is not about proving your strength, but about proving your love. My first night taught me this truth. Real romance is not in passion alone, but in patience, respect, and love. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pro English Stories. Keep learning English through emotional storytelling